Hello, I'm Skull EDC, and I'm going to cover two main points in this video. The first is following the details of the rifle entering the campus in the shooter's backpack, to the roof where he assembles it, to running off the roof, and how does the rifle end up hidden in a bush wrapped in a black towel. The other thing we'll cover is the trajectory of the bullet from the rifle and how it ends up stopped in the neck where the surgeon said it was found, stopped in Charlie Kirk's neck. There will be no blood shown in this video. First, we have the shooter, Tyler Robinson, entering the campus. I've drawn with a white box the outline approximate of where the backpack is hanging on his back. You can see from another screenshot, the backpack hangs low. The top of the backpack is mid-shoulder blade, and the bottom of the longer than usual backpack hangs down to his butt. Where is the rifle? The stock is disassembled, so it's in two pieces. The red drawn here shows the barrel attached to the action and the scope. The scope is hard mounted, so the orientation of the scope to the barrel will keep it zero. The accuracy will be unchanged and unaffected by having the stock removed and reattached. I did measurements and research. The Mauser sporting rifle with the synthetic stock, the barrel can come in different sizes, but 24-inch barrel plus the action length. I estimate that at least 10-inch of barrel would have to extend beyond, wouldn't fit in the backpack, would extend beyond the backpack and down his pants. So he's put a hole in the backpack so that he can have the rifle be in the backpack, except for the extra barrel length going through a hole in the backpack and then down his pants, down the back of his pant leg. And then also notice the clue, the phone in the pocket. You can see the very tight print. You can try this out yourself. Put on blue jeans, put the phone in your pocket, and stick a broomstick down the back of your pant leg, and then look at your phone. It's going to be pulled tight. Also, all the surveillance that the police reviewed showed him walking with a funny limp everywhere he went because he has the rifle in the backpack. I didn't draw the stock, but the stock fits in the backpack. The rifle barrel and scope mostly fit in the backpack, but the additional barrel is going down the back of his pant leg. He goes up to the roof, reassembles the rifle with the screwdriver. It takes a little bit longer to reassemble because you have to line up the screws and get everything to fit just right. Disassembly is faster. Just remove a few bolts with the screwdriver and you can take it apart more quickly. He assembles it, gets to the edge of the roof, doesn't waste too much time. He's probably thinking maybe he's been spotted and police could be on the way. He takes the shot quick. He has signs of being somewhat of an amateur. He doesn't cycle the bolt that a professional shooter would automatically do with extensive muscle memory, automatic. Also, he shoots a little bit high, which can be expected from shooting from elevation because he's up on a rooftop shooting approximately 10 degrees downward. He has a clear line of sight. After he takes the shot, he runs across the roof, making the mistake of leaving the screwdriver behind on the roof. Now, people had trouble when they first saw this video, and also I did, of making out where is the rifle. And the thing that threw me off was seeing when he lands in the he lowers himself over the edge and does a controlled fall. And then he picks something up from the grass, which I thought was the backpack, because that kind of looks like the backpack. It's actually the rifle wrapped in a black towel. But once I realized, looking at him running across the rooftop and lowering himself, I could make out that the backpack is actually on his back. So the thing he's picking up from the grass, and that doesn't look like a rifle either, but that's because it's wrapped in a black towel. So now that I know what I'm looking at, that the backpack is on his back, and that the thing he's picking up is a rifle wrapped in a black towel, now that I know what I'm looking at, it becomes more clear and evident of what you're seeing. So now it's pretty obvious. I can see where the rifle is wrapped in the black towel. I can see the backpack, and now I'm seeing and able to make out what happened here. From this point, he travels not too far, crosses the street into a treed, grassy area with bushes behind a house. Now, I think his plan, just like he had entered and then entered campus, changed clothes, probably in a bathroom stall. He also had a maroon shirt and shorts. He wanted to go back through the neighborhood that he knows has zoom cameras, wearing the same outfit with the rifle concealed. The same way he entered, he wanted to exit the same way. But the mistake in his plan is he can't find the screwdriver to take the rifle apart like he had planned, because he had left it up on the rooftop. So now he knows his escape window is quickly closing. He can't take the rifle apart. I think that's why he changes the plan. What's his best chance is to hide the rifle in a bush and hope that he can come back later for it. So that's what he does. That's why it ends up in a bush wrapped in a black towel. It's because he couldn't take it apart because he didn't have the screwdriver. Now we'll switch to the next topic of the trajectory of the bullet and where it goes, the evidence, and how it ends up stopped in the neck of Charlie Kirk, where the surgeon says there's no exit wound and the bullet is found in the neck. Here is what normal armored plate with a vest that holds the plates. The plates are very heavy. This is a normal full torso armor plate. This is not what he's wearing. So this is what people are looking for when they're thinking about body armor, and they look at his t-shirt, they say, obviously, he's not wearing body armor. Well, this is not what Charlie Kirk is wearing. If you look at that chest plate and just take 1/3 the size of it for an upper chest plate that only covers his heart and the chest around the heart, that is what he's wearing. Something different than this, something smaller. And instead of a big, bulky web material, he's wearing a compression elastic with a much smaller and lighter upper chest plate. So here's a screenshot before the shooting. Look at the chain going around his neck. If you look a little bit more closely, because this chest plate is highly concealed, but you can see the direction of the necklace go down, but that doesn't line up with where you see it in the t-shirt. The reason it's changed direction is it's gone up over the edge of the chest plate. So pause and zoom in on that, and you can see the change of the direction of the chain as it rises up under the t-shirt over the edge of the chest plate, right where the tip of that shadow ends. That's the transition point of the edge of the chest plate. And here's another screenshot, just before the bullet strikes. You can see a black clip on his right shoulder, and from the letter F in freedom, you can see a crease going up to the black clip and then curving under his neck. That is a good approximation of the outline of the upper chest plate. Now the bullet has struck. You can see the energy of the bullet hitting the chest plate, throwing the t-shirt up in a seesaw teeter-totter reaction from the hard, rigid chest plate, which is being struck up near the top edge of the chest plate. And with the energy going up, also notice these black lines inside those red circles that people noticed. Some people thought that was a blood squirt from an entry wound. We can see what it is when we look at another camera angle. It's the chain that was around his neck, laying right across the body armor. The bullet strikes the chest plate and goes through the necklace on its way up to the entry point in his neck, and it's whipping the chain that has broken with a lot of energy, whipping around his neck, up by his ear, and continuing. You can see the silver line still in his hairline as it's flying backwards, and then there it is flying even further backwards. Also, there was another screenshot scene of a projectile flying down between his legs by his right knee. That also tracks with a lead bullet, or partially lead bullet that strikes a hard plate. Anybody that knows lead, what it does when it hits a hard plate, it doesn't bounce like a ball. It will flatten out, fragment, and the fragments can slide along the plate and fly off of any of the four sides of the plate. So this lead fragment from striking the chest plate traveled down in the opposite direction of the ricochet. Most of the bullet ricocheted upwards into the neck. If you zoom in closely, you can even see the 2-inch gash rip in the t-shirt, showing the silver shine of a chest plate through the t-shirt. Zoom into that tip of the arrow and the 2-inch gash right above that, the silver shiny. So the bullet strikes the chest plate first, delivers most of the energy into the chest plate. The bullet is mushroomed, deformed, and tumbled as it slides upward, catching the chain, which is also under the t-shirt, snapping the chain, and continuing upward, having lost most of its energy and being deformed and mushroomed, creates a larger than normal entry wound. The mushroom bullet goes through the front of the neck and hitting the artery directly and stopping. Now, why is there resistance to admitting that there is a chest plate? And why are there even headlines like Kirk says no body armor? So that throws everybody off. There's two good reasons for this. One, it's bad for business. The ricochet was actually worse than just having no body armor and taking the shot through the upper left chest, which has a higher probability of survival than having your neck artery. The ricochet was actually worse in this case. It's a matter of inches. If the bullet had struck 1 inch this way or that way or down, you probably would want the body armor would create a smaller wound, but in this case it ricocheted just straight into the artery, so it was worse. So Candace Owens said that she got information from a bullet vest company that said they had provided bulletproof vests in the past to Charlie Kirk, but they were no longer doing that. Well, all that really means is they've switched to a new company, and they were probably interested in this more highly concealed, probably more comfortable, and maybe lighter, and possibly more advanced material chest plate. So why doesn't the company come out? They actually want the story to go away because in this particular instance, there was a ricochet that the body plate actually made it worse. The other reason is it might be a highly advanced state-of-the-art material that they don't want being analyzed. They don't want enemies to get a sample of so they can reverse engineer it. They've spent decades doing research, tens of millions of dollars or a lot more, coming up with more concealed, lighter, and thinner material that can still stop a high-powered bullet. So the security team and Charlie Kirk himself might have signed a non-disclosure agreement to get a more advanced body armor, and this is a organization that can afford a security team to travel to all the events. They can also afford a more expensive custom fit and possibly more advanced body material. Under non-disclosure agreement, the security team and Charlie Kirk, being a man of integrity, probably would not even tell his wife about it. So it's possible he has the body armor and the wife doesn't even know, and that explains that reasonably. So 2 reasons why they're not admitting to body armor, but all the physics match up with striking a plate. You can see the trajectory. You can literally see it with your own eyes. The impact spot on the t-shirt, it slides up through the chain, all the physics, all the fragments, everything matches up. You can draw a line straight from there up into the neck. Most of the energy is absorbed by the plate, which explains why the bullet can stop. It explains why there's a larger entry wound and why it stops in the neck and there's no entry wound. Everything is explained. So that concludes this video. We covered how does the rifle get into the campus, and then why does it get left in a bush wrapped in a towel. We also covered all the screenshots of fragments of and physics of the bullet traveling from the front, striking the chest plate, through the chain, up into the neck, and stopping in the artery in the neck. I think we've covered that well. I think, to my satisfaction, it's all explained, and I hope this helps you too. Thank you.